Okay, quick little photograph to a watercolor. First thing I did was just make a layer just called Splash. It's an empty layer. That's all. There's nothing on it. Then what I did was import a photograph. This one right here, nice colorful shot down in the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Nice, clean, sharp, crisp reflections. And then all I did was duplicate that layer, and that was it. Now I'm working with an 8x12 at 300 dpi, and my photographs are also 8x12s. So when I imported them, all I had to do was hit File, Import Image, then wherever they were right here in the Nature Series Possible, and then these are all the photos. Here's the photo right here. Select it, hit Open, and it'll open up. Click it on, and that's it. You're there. Now, what I want to do with this one, I'll turn it off, go to my splash, use some of the colors I want to create, runs, visual settings, custom drips on. I have the run set all the way. I am going to use my bloom brush, turn it up all the way, opacity about half. Water's all the way up. Now what I'll do is take some blues, start this, just put down some blue. I would try to use the colors that are in your photo, because if your photo starts to go transparent a little bit or translucent, then what's going to happen is you may see the colors you're using on the splash layer. Now I'm going to get, let's go with burnt sienna, but I'm going to go to this splash brush, and I'm going to start doing this. And what I want to try and do is create a very interesting watercolor pattern of just mixing colors various different ways, and try to get some really unique shapes at the bottom where the wet paint is running down and stopping. Let's see, we'll put a little bit of lavender in there, and I'll keep on just mixing them up. And these bottoms here are getting interesting, because I'm going to try and keep this the most interesting part down here, only because that's where my water of the boat is going to be. Let that mix up just a little bit longer. And I'm waiting to get just a couple of real short runs. I'm going to stop it quick so they don't run off the paper, because I want my runs intact for this type of project. Okay, there's some interesting outlines there. I'll stop it there, hit fast dry. Now I'll go to my first photograph. And what I want to do first is distort it in all directions. So in other words, I'm going to splash it with water, take the drips this way, splash it with water, take the drips that way, splash it with water, take the drips that way, and then one last time splash it with water and take the drip straight down. And this way it'll distort it evenly in all directions. In other words, it just won't look like it's dripping down. I want it to drip out in all directions. So I will go to my water tool again, and this is just clean water. And if you need some help, I can put on the show wet area, and this is what this will do. And if you don't want it strongly distorted, I won't let it run too long, and it will distort the photograph. You can see it's starting to distort now. I'll stop it there, take it straight up. Watch these lines, they'll start to go up. Rope will start to go up. There he goes. Stop it there. Now I'll take it to this way. Let it distort a little bit to my right now. That looks good. Stop it there. Take it straight down. I'll wait on that. These are starting to go down over here. That looks good. Stop it there. Now, that's an interesting, loose, distorted photograph that kind of was spontaneous. You could do it with liquify tools, do other things, but this is kind of happening on its own. So in other words, anytime I would ever do this, no two would ever come alike. So I'll leave that there. Now I'll go to my top one, this one that's not distorted at all. But what I will do to this one is actually make this one, add layer mask. Now what I'm going to do is paint it in all black so this top layer disappears. Go to my watercolor brush. I'll use my big flat, no water, use my black. All I'm doing is completely disappearing, making the top layer disappear. Now I'm completely down to my second layer. Now what I'll do is go to my second layer, make it a clipping mask. Now it's only going to pick up the splash I made on the very first layer. But now what I could do is go back to my mask on the very top detailed layer. And if I start working in medium value colors on that mask, I will actually slowly start bringing out the detail of the very top layer. I'll show you what I mean. Start off with a blue. I'll go with my bloom brush. And what I'm doing is slowly adding the very top layer on top of everything. But this will be a little bit more sharper detailed because that particular photo is not distorted at all. So if I want to add a little wee bit of detail to my distorted picture, this is how I would do it. And I can also even add in some detail down in here to where my splash on the very bottom layer runs out. I could end it right there. As long as I'm working with that mask, I could take it back and forth to where I could keep on adding lighter values to show more detail or darker values to cover up that detail and expose the middle layer, which is my distorted layer. And then the distorted layer is a clipping mask for the splash, which is showing me this ragged edge and different areas and shapes that worked and bled naturally together. The water and the paint diffused in its own different ways. Whatever kind of splash pattern I could come up with, that's what the clipping mask would hold to. That's it. Quick watercolor out of your favorite photo. Until I see you out in the field or back at the studio, thanks for watching.